use, Sam. Play it again. San Francisco's a beautiful city. Cable cars, fog rolling off the bay, Chinatown, the Golden Gate Bridge, the wharf. Gee, I wish I lived there. The dust had to be an inch deep on my desk. A thick layer of papers was forming around the base of the trash can. An empty bottle of milk lay on the floor next to the couch where I had a business engagement the night before.
Coffee, Sam?
Yeah. Kitty wasn't much on keeping an office clean, but she could make a great cup of coffee. I still remember the day she came in looking for work. She wanted to be a secretary. She had all the requirements. She made a great cup of coffee. I gave her a job. That was yesterday. Being a private dick isn't easy with a name like Sam Spade. But I got all the requirements. I like babes and bullets. And I look kind of neat in a trench coat.
More coffee, Sam?
Nah. It was a slow day. The hours seemed to drag by like a New York Giants versus Brooklyn Dodgers doubleheader. I decided to get a phone. As I was leaving the office, I found myself face to face with one of the most beautiful creatures I'd ever seen.
You, Spade.
I never know how to answer that question. So what brings you here, and why me? There are 100 private investigators in town with better offices than mine. Who are you?
My husband was murdered. Your chief, Tanya Tabby, will you take the case?
I had to think for a minute. Sure. Judging from the way she was dressed, she was obviously tapping some big bucks. Of course. It all makes sense now. She marries an old geezer, bumps him off, inherits all the money, hires a second-rate investigator to find the killer who she double-crosses and ends up scot-free. So how old was your husband, Mrs. O'Tabby?
23.
Of course. It all makes sense now. Her husband was obviously a ladies' man. Tanya finds out he's unfaithful and has him snuffed. She hires a second-rate detective to find the killer, who she double-crosses and ends up scot-free. It's one of the oldest shams in the book. So what did your husband do for a living, Mrs. O'Tabby?
He was at St. Maurice University, Mr. Spade. He was head of the history department.
Something wasn't right here. Sounds like a pretty tame profession, doll. Not exactly the kind of job where enemies can be made.
We all have enemies, don't we, Mr. Spade?
Call me Sam, please. What makes you think your husband was murdered?
He drove off Old Mountain Road, Sam, please. That's 40 miles away. He had no reason to be there. Besides, he was an excellent driver. The police say he probably fell asleep at the wheel, but I just can't believe that.
Her lips started to tremble. I took her hands in mine. Go home, kid. I got work to do. I'll call you when I got something. My life's full of babes and bullets. No time to lay back and cool it. I've got claws and claws right here in my paws. Nothing to do but do it. Claws and clues are my beat. I pay my dues on the street. A life full of babes and bullets. It's a living, that's why I do it. Why someone would murder a 23-year-old college professor was beyond me. Maybe he delivered just one too many lectures on the Boxer Rebellion. Stranger things have happened in this town. My first stop was the city morgue. It was 11 a.m. Walking up the steps to the morgue, I saw my old adversary. It was Lieutenant Washington.
Spade, what brings you down here? Trying to find a client?
Sure, Lieutenant. He's the one your blue boy shot in the back for jaywalking.
Watch it, Spade. I still have your license under investigation.
Oh, yeah? Well, at least I know it's safe for a while.
Spade, don't push me.
Wouldn't dream of it, Lieutenant. Have a nice day. The lieutenant was still saying goodbyes as I walked into the morgue. I spotted the coroner, Bert Fleabish.
Spade, what brings you down here?
Hey, Bert. I need to see a body.
Who doesn't, eh, Sam? What's the name?
Professor O'Tabby.
Oh, yeah, tough break. Nice fellow.
You knew him?
Oh, not really. My kid attended St. Maurice and had his class. Really liked him, too. Except for his lectures about the Boxer Rebellion.
I could tell Bert sort of liked the guy by the way he pulled out the drawer with the stiff. O'Tabby looked like he'd been worked over by the maulers of the Midway. It didn't surprise me. When's the autopsy scheduled, Bert?
Autopsy? What autopsy?
Wife thinks it was murder, Bert.
Murder. Sam, the man died in a disastrous car accident.
Looking down at O'Tabby, I noticed some yellowish-brown coloration on his chest and stomach hairs. Hey, Bert, you have any explanation for this?
Any kind of fluid from a car can make a stain like that.
Do you have his clothes and any items he had on him when he was discovered?
Sure, Sam. Right here.
I searched through the clothing looking for anything that might suggest murder. Right now, it looked as though poor O'Tabby had just had a bad break on the mountain. His shirt was about the only item of clothing that was still recognizable. I noticed the yellowish-brown stains were in the same location on the shirt that they were on the body. I'd seen stains like this before, but where? Maybe something would come to me later. There was a curious little stone in the shirt pocket. It was a very colorful stone on one side, almost as though it were painted.
Be right back, Sam.
Sure, that's what my ex-wife said. As Bert went to answer the phone, I put the colorful stone in my pocket. I don't know why, really. Maybe I just like stones.
Is there anything else you need, Sam?
A clue, a motive, and a murderer. Good night, Bert.
Sam.
Yeah, Bert?
It's noon.